in effect. Yeah, I'm fully focused. You might not see it on me, just know it's women, that bitch fully loaded. Ooh, yeah, we up and rolling. Told them I need major motion. Think I'm joking. I'ma school them niggas like they baby Jody. Got it out the dust. Now I'm too clean, don't know why they hate me. What you want out life, dog? Guns and butter, baby boy. You PK top, dog. Certified road runner. I'ma turn that econ line into a damn tank. I got choppers stashed in that attic like they had Frank. They had that shit on lock till I snapped on them like bolt cutters. You cannot play both sides, gotta choose your colors. See, I'm throwing that one up with that W, that's my blood, bro. Fine in. I ain't show no mercy, I'm gonna show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel. I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They know how I did it. Got it out the dust, straight to glory. They know how I feel. He's nice, but he don't show the skills how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a made, circle tight, yeah, back and seal. Said they want my life, I ain't worried, I got Ray for real.
Young, I don't make this beat,
Yeah, you already know what time it is, you understand? UPK, One West in the Command Junior High to all my brothers, we rolling through, you understand? Cause these niggas weak, these niggas don't know what to do. You see these soldiers beside me, standing in all black with them shields on post, watching, they all my brothers.
Gold is precious, but loyalty is priceless. Harm on the mind might leave you lifeless. Wrong with this shit, I'ma need a diapers. Endure through any crisis, cause all my niggas righteous, all political vipers. Cowards fold, real niggas hold rank, stand for what they believe in, won't compromise a thing. Never harmonize with traitors, do not affiliate with impersonators. You cross the line, you gon' catch the vapors. My niggas strong, no chase. Them other niggas sweet like annihilators. Tank full of brown sugar like annihilate. Every time I move, a righteous demonstration. All I deny is Satan. My brother's glorious, true warriors. The labor swore down the death sentence. Can't stop till we notorious. Thrown in my way with a supreme audience. Proud ass nigga get exiled. No loitering around my brothers.
Yeah, you already know what it is. 144 back again, UPK style, putting it down for my brothers. And I roll with straight souls.
That's
you
right.
See them niggas with them shields
That's
and
right.
the fatigues and them boots. They my brothers. We gon' rule it on the king on the stand. We gon' rule this bitch at all costs. Nigga, we gon' take these from them rappers.
That's right.
That's
right.
Take them to the ground.
Right.
And we gon' eat and drink. Me and all
my brother like the ladder house. You can't blend with my men, nigga. I can tell you fake from your treacherous mouth. Claiming God is all love, we don't believe that. Give a damn about your 2 cents, fuck your feedback. I give it all for my brothers, they deserve it. No excuses for my niggas. They striving to be perfect, sacrifice whatever form they never owe me. You be cake, we click tight like Sweet Pea and Joe. Endure to the end, it's what a wise man told me. Licking from the top shelf, but I spit it with the load. 144, nigga, everybody know me. All I ever wanted was revenge, fuck a road. Say you down for the cause, gotta show me. Stand tall and do not blush. Remain calm when the danger pop up. Flow deep like David Jones locker. More bars than Central Locker. No competition, only glory in the distance for my brothers.
I just wanna see my enemies fall. Yeah, hey, look, I just wanna bow. Told my niggas stand tall, cause we about to go and get it all. Nigga, I just wanna bow. Look at them 20s where they crawl. I've been praying that my enemies fall. Nigga, I just wanna bow. And I hope you bow too. And that be why I gotta keep it true. Nigga, I just wanna bow. Hey. Just give me what I'm due. Let my enemies see the living proof, Lord. I just wanna bow. Trying to build my own city, homie. Enough room to put my niggas on it. Just start a couple business on it. Fuck any heathen, never shitting on me. Yeah. Public housing we done lived through. Trying to put that in my rear view. Gold rolls, what I still do. I can see the picture with a clear view.
Hey, Shalom Israel. Shalom Lord in Christ. We're gonna kick this thing off now. We're gonna get started. We're gonna say, we're gonna clap it up. We're gonna clap it up. We're gonna first start out by saying, Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatah, to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema, all the time by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, all the sisters. And big ups to Officer 50, Magawa.
More than Christ, the water.
Hey, hey, the water for coming in. Hey, congratulations. I know how you feel. You got all the work ahead of us now.
Okay.
Let's just get it on, brother. Let's just buckle down and do our best and keep our shoulders to the wheel and not turn back. Okay, so we know and feel free at any time, officer. Just jump in right there. I got my stuff kind of documented, so I ain't gonna get lost outside in Christ. So if you feel you want to go into our usual local current events, international current event, what's going on around the world. But even before we get into that, I want to remind you guys, plant. Get some kind of garden going. Don't just grow grass. I saw they had a documentary. They say lawn. They say the lawn, the grass that in people's yards seem to be the most single crop on the earth. The lawn, the beautification lawn that you don't eat, right? And basically, hardly anything eats, but that seems to be the most single crop on the earth. So that should be, and that's one of the things I noticed when I moved from the island where I was born into this island now where I am. One of the things was that nobody had anything in the yard that was edible. They only had lawns, right? That's all they had. But over time, that has changed, and now people are planting fruit trees in their yards. But that was one thing I noticed a very long time ago, and obviously it's been changing over time. But that's what I saw a documentary say just recently. On the earth, the crop that is most singly grown is the lawn in the front of your yard, which you cut. That, yeah, and nobody basically eats that stuff. All right, so just telling you, if you got a yard, grow something you could eat. Because the time may come, you may have to eat that lawn.
Good night.
The time may come, you may have to eat that lawn. So I say to you, yeah, think a little further ahead than we are doing. We don't normally think that far ahead. Most of us just think for today, and some don't even think but tomorrow. And that's part of the curse that's on us, believe it or not. And we're gonna get into that anyway. But before we jump into that, let me touch on some of the local current events. And Magawa, if you have any current events that you would like to add in that's happening in your area, just feel free to enlighten us on that too. Because believe it or not, you could be in the Carolinas, you could be in the Bahamas, you could be in Texas. All Israel is going through the same thing. All is going through the same thing. And a lot of times, I don't think people recognize that, but it's really so similar. It's scary. It's so scary. Okay, so we're gonna have some of our local current events. Well, we heating up into our silly season. We got the election is near, so I guess in the next 12 days or so, we got our general election. So we get everybody that's acting like, most of them acting close to be what I would call idiots. They're destroying other people, their posters, their placards. And obviously that's the ignorant set of people. Now we aren't even interested in this election anyway, but it's kind of amusing to see what they're doing. And of course we know that nothing changes. They say is one bird, one wing, the next wing. Everybody does the same thing when it comes to these governments. They don't have the heart of the people really in their minds. They're not like Commander General Yohana. They don't seem to think that way. When they get into the governmental arena, they try their best to enrich themselves and their family. That's all they're all about. Okay, so that's what's happening. We have a they open the polls. They have this pre-election. They open the polls actually tomorrow for some of the people who will be working the polls. So that's ongoing. We'll see all the laughable things that happens in the next few days. Okay, so a few other things have been happening around the Bahamas, and believe it or not, the Bahamian documentation is sorted after, because over time the Bahamians had this good reputation with America that we were not trying to migrate into America. Our dollar is basically on par with America, so we had this good relationship with our documents. So when you see a Bahamian passport, they let you in without any big hassle. We used to travel to America without passports. Get a police record, you travel to America. But now what we've been finding out that's been happening, that our documents are being sold to third-party countries or people from third-party countries, and they're getting legal documents from the Bahamas. And so this is creating, as far as I believe, is creating like an international issue, because now our documents are really not respected as well as they used to be, because they say, well, they may not even be an organic Bahamian, and that's been happening. So we have the Jamaicans and we have the Haitians getting different fraudulent documentation from the Bahamas, from the government, obviously, from the government system. Another thing that's happening in the Bahamas, and the police is currently investigating a reporting of a 12-year-old sexual assault. I mean, again, these are the things that causes us to remember we yet in our slavery. People's minds are not even functioning properly, doing the most silliest set of things, molesting, allegedly molesting a young child like that. That's crazy, And then the next thing, a man is behind bars for videotaping and I guess sending out the stuff of with another underage girl. Again, just ridiculous. But these are some of the things that's happening around the Bahamas. And again, one other thing is, again, what shows is we still yet caught in our slavery, is we still have this need to try and make money. So we get illegal guns, ammunition, and from time to time, the police, when they find you, they put you before the court. And so those are some of the things that's happening around, and that's for current events. And I'd say one of the things about firearms, I went and I was going to apply for to carry conceal, but after they told me the price to carry that conceal, I say, you know something, I don't want it that bad. It was like $750 a year just to carry, right? Yeah, and you just pay that every year. So I say, yeah, that's what it is, officer. $750 a year.
Wow.
I don't know what your rates are in America. I don't know if you get around to that as yet.
Well, for a concealed carry permit, I'm not exactly sure of the pricing. I don't think it's anywhere near that.
I can imagine.
But you can't have some other ones for free.
Yeah, this is crazy over here. I think they're just trying to discourage you,
Oh,
That's probably
absolutely.
what it is. Yeah, it's just a discouragement. But all the criminals have guns. So that's the thing about it. So, are there some global events that's going on? Cuba. Cuba's not doing well at all. The fact that hardly any oil tankers got to Cuba because of Cuba almost, from I could remember, had an embargo on them. And now it seems like Trump, the Agent Orange, he put his fist and squeezed them tighter, So hardly no tankers have gotten to them to provide them with fuel, to fuel their equipment and generators. So there's running blackouts, and right now it's just getting worse. And of course, what he said with Cuba, oh, we'll just take it, we'll just take it. So I guess he's just waiting. That'll be his next target. He'll just take it. I guess when he finished doing whatever he's doing, he's gonna come and take it. And so I said to some of the Bahamians, I said, listen, Cuba is on the next side of the Bahamas, in the Bahamas is in between Florida and Cuba. So he want to take Cuba. What is his intention for the Bahamas? Nobody even thought about that here. He probably can say the same thing. Oh, we'll just take it. You just take it. Sound like a child that's playing marbles, you know. come on the park and see somebody else marbles in there. Say, oh, I'll just take it. That's it. Yeah, so that's happening in Cuba. We still have the fighting going on in Lebanon in the midst of a ceasefire. Hezbollah and Israel still fight one another. It's crazy. And the war in its 60th day now. Apparently they already spent the America already spent $25 billion. And guess what? If a Negro asks them for $10, they'll want to whip you. They want to whip you. We don't have any money. We broke. Oh man. And of course, oil prices has been affected by the closing of the reduction in the movement of oil around the earth. And our fuel prices now jump up to $6.90 per gallon. So, I mean, as is always, we very seldom get under $5. We do get down to $4 something, I guess. But right now we have to $6.90 a gallon. And that's some of the results of this war that didn't have to happen. All the experts say it didn't have to happen. You know, this is a war that this is a diversion. This is a Epstein diversion, who I believe. Yeah. Okay, so any questions, anything you want to say? Kodari, I see you in the back there. Any questions you want to say? Come with it. If you do, other than that, we'll get into our topic. Okay. Well, officer, I know you're ready for these scriptures. We basically using you'll see as we go through it. But today's topic is, who are my brothers, and how should the brotherhood work? Okay, how should the brotherhood work? First, who are your brothers and how should that work? Because obviously, everyone on the earth are not my brothers. And I have to come to understand and appreciate that, because I came from the places where everybody was just human beings. You know, yeah, everybody was human beings, and so nobody had any special. Well, let me rephrase that. We did have a group that had special treatment and special consideration. There was God chosen people, you know, those people who are now residing in the land of Israel. They were always in the circle that I moved around in and grew up in. They were always the only respected people on the earth when it come to God. And even so, it was them who I was told to watch to see how the prophecies played out. It was them. They say, watch them. And but who are my brothers? We're going to talk a little bit about how we identify these brothers. So we're going to start, officer. I know we read these scriptures a lot, but as the apostles say, we shouldn't have a problem with repetition, because the more I read them and talk and break them down, the better I seem to get out of myself. So we're going to go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 27 and 1. When you get it, just go ahead and read. So
this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27 and verse 1. And Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day.
Yeah. Now, I had the officer to read that, so I always say to try to put us in the mindset of who this is, who are these people, who are my brothers? And this is where you start to identify who your brothers. Because if you think about it, coming out of Egypt into the wilderness, that's where the brotherhood starts. So that's where your ancestor would be right now. Your genes, if you were to search your genes and go back to your father, his father, his father, his father, it's gonna end up right there with those people in that wilderness, right there. And it's only those people who we're looking at as your brothers and your sisters. So this is who we're talking about. So this is where it starts. And it comes from there. And a lot of people don't accept it, don't understand it, and don't want it to be. Now, even so, in that time there were many other nations around. But this is the nation which God has selected. And so if you're not connected to them, then those people are not your brother or your sisters, believe it or not. I mean, sometimes it seems to be harsh when, and obviously it's only harsh when when the black man is saying it about other nationalities. Other nationalities could say it about the black people and nobody cares. When they ostracize us, they'll say, "Oh, that's okay." But when we try to separate ourselves, they will say all sorts of evil against us. But this one thing we have to know: who are our brothers and who are our sisters? And this is one of the indications of how we identify the brothers and the sisters. Because if your forefathers wasn't the ones that came out of Egypt with the mighty ark of God, then you're not. This is not for you. You're not a part of it. Now, some people may even be in unawares, may slip in for whatever reason, but in time, those people will be weeded out. Just like how even some of the people did not make it. And the thing about it, a lot of people did not a lot. Most of them did not make it into the promised land. You only got two going over. When you really take an account of it, you take a real account of it. All those people who came out of Egypt, when they actually go into the promised land, the ones who came out of Egypt and the ones who went into the promised land, it's only two. Now, obviously, all of them, they had reproduced and the children had grown up. So those are the ones who actually took the land. But who actually came out of Egypt? From who came out of Egypt, only two people from who came out of Egypt went into the promised land. Now, all of them had generations and children, and they're the ones who received, because God even rejected them because of their disobedience. Right in the wilderness,
John, if I may,
Hey, come with it.
If I may, it was Caleb and Joshua that made it in because they
That's
followed the laws that we were given. They didn't be disobedient. They were worthy of going into that land that was given to our people.
Con. So that's it. They're the only two that made it in. Everybody else, for whatever reason, even the great Moses, he didn't even make it in. Because the Most High is so awesome. You really don't want to get on his wrong side. You don't want to see the angry part of the Lord. We don't want to see that. Because, like you say, Joshua and Caleb are the only two that made it in. Who came out of Egypt? Yeah. So before we move any further, read Deuteronomy 28 and 1, and then we jump on, go a little further.
So this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Again, another indicator of your ancestry and even the future, and even for you to be able to identify yourself now. And because the scripture says plainly, if he had followed and observed to do all his commandments, we would be on the top. Of course, we know our forefathers did not, and we know what Deuteronomy 28 and 15 says, which we'll read before we jump on, but we'll read that and then in a minute. So the next indication is we would have been, if we had done what the Lord, what the Most High had said, we would have a better position right now. And I'm talking about our forefathers. And so that didn't happen. So now we find ourselves at the almost at the bottom, because if you look at the 12 tribes, no, I don't think no other nation seems to be lower than the 12 tribes. Now you might argue which one of the 12 tribes is the lowest, right? But other than that, you might argue which one is the lowest. But when you look at the 12 tribes, I'm not sure if any other nationality is lower than the 12 tribes. We may have a debate which one of the tribes is the lowest, but we all won. We all won. And that's one of the things that that is another indicator. And the sad thing about it is, I think it was Harriet Tubman said something that she could have saved more slaves if they knew they were slaves. And I think even so, I believe right now we could pull more people out of the position they're in if they recognize that they were Israelites, because they be fighting tooth and nail. I'm telling you, when I first started to talk about it to the Christians, it was like, no, but it was like, no, that can't be us. I gotta be the white man.
They won't put down the crab, shrimp, and lobster. They just can't put the cross down. They have to hold on to the white man. They just can't let him go.
God. And they don't realize how that is so much of a sin. They don't realize it. They don't realize how much of a sin that is that they do it. And so it's just like, because they continue, they can never see any better. They can never see beyond that because they love that. So yes, they can't let it go. I tell you the story before. The former pastor, when I had a meeting with him, he said, he called my slave name. He said, every time I smell that fresh pork, I have to eat some of that. I always remember my Grammy, that fresh pork pot. Good night. So, I hope he stopped now, but that's probably the last conversation he and I had. We didn't have much more after that. But that's one of the indicators of who your brother is, and that's what we're trying to say. If you are one who, and you would go back to that ancestry, you would go back to that, and trust me, if you don't have to do a DNA to know who you are. The spirit is going to identify with you, with your spirit. The spirit is going to identify, and if you're not Israel, that'll be also that'll come out clear and plain to you also. All right, so we don't strive after endless genealogies. If your daddy is black, his daddy. As far as I only could go back myself, I think I only could go back one solid generation. So one. I could go back one, which is coming.
I was just saying that's a sign right there. That's a sign of who our people are as well. It's not being able to go back.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I could go back one solid generation. I know my father. I don't even know his father. Right? Yeah. So that is one of the indicators of us being Israel. And if people don't believe it, let them find any other nationality officer. And if they ask those people, they'll be surprised. They'll say, my father's name is this, his father's name is that, his father's name is that, his father's name is that. They'll know it, and they'll say they came from here. Right? That's what they'll say. We'll say, well, I don't know. I know my daddy. That's mostly how far we go. Yeah. So, and like you say, that is one of the identifying markers of being an Israelite. That's one. Okay. Now, that being said, we're going to talk about that's how we identify. Now, how should this brotherhood work? And I'm trying to understand and kick this brotherhood into full effect in my life and make it work to my advantage, to grow and to gain strength in this brotherhood, because this brotherhood is which is the weapon that strengthens us. We need to make sure that we we really reach out and form these linkages. My challenge is, I'm so far from the brothers. I need to try to build up the brothers. I'm trying my best, but that's moving slow. But I need some brothers closer to me. Keep that strength. Keep gaining strength. So let's see how this brotherhood's supposed to work. We start in the book of let me see. Let's start with John, the book of John, chapter 13. We start in the 13 and 34, 35.
Book of John 13, and 13.
13, 34, and 35.
So this is the book of John, chapter 13, verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another, as I have loved you, that ye also love one another.
So this is how this brotherhood's supposed to work. This is how this is supposed to work. Now, practically in your mind, this is something we have to wash our mind. Because coming out of Christianity, where most of us come out, or the hood, which some of us might have come out, but it's still Christianity, So, wherever we have found ourselves, we got to kind of wash our minds and understand the way things should be is the way it's been taught to us now. And that's why when we come into the truth, we're supposed to allow all of those things that we've learned, try and let them go. And try and receive the what is being taught us. Salakia. Just hold on for a sec. Oh, Salakia for that. Yeah, so we're just looking at how this brotherhood is going to be operating. How are we going to identify? As Christ said, this is a new commandment. You have to love. You have to have this love one for another. And how do you do that? You have to let the things of the past go and learn these scriptures. Learn, as the scriptures say, wash by the word. As we study the word, we let our minds be washed by that word. We let our minds be washed by the reading and by the scriptures. We understand that. Read on, officer.
Verse 35. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another.
God. So, again, this is a commandment that is red letter, right, officer?
Oh, this is a red letter. This is Christ.
Okay, this is Christ speaking. This is what he is saying. This is how other people will know. This is how all men will know that we are his disciples. This is Christ's disciples. If we have love one for another. And this is the brotherhood. Now, I'm telling you, a lot of people are confused because Christ will say, you all brothers should have love for one another. Christ chose those words to say. Christ did not say, y'all brothers should love everybody on the earth. And a lot of times this is missed by a lot of people. They add these things in their own minds and think that Christ is saying something different than he is saying. So when he say this, y'all supposed to have love one for another. And this how all men will know. Now, even if the all men know, he ain't saying all men can come for you to love them too. But all men would know that y'all are the chosen ones. Y'all are the one who have love for one another, because we see it. We see how y'all operate. We see how y'all behave between one another. This is what his commandment is. And so this is what we strive for. And of course, some have the ability to just jump right in and do it on the first day. Some have to work themselves up there. Some have to let the things, they have to share themselves every day to get better at it. Some start out better, but we all have to get to that point, loving one another. Clear the things out of our minds, what have us hindered and locked into the things of the past. And so this is the scripture telling us now. You could go to Luke 6:31, Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 6, and verse 31. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise.
So this is, again, this is the simplicity of the scriptures. How do you treat, how should the brotherhood work? That's the second part of it, right? Who are your brothers and how should it work? So this is how it should work. And please don't get confused with trying to do this to everybody. This is, you identify who your brothers are, and this identification comes from the scriptures, not from somebody telling you. Because even Christ, if you recall, you have to find out, let's paraphrase it. When Christ was inside, they say, thy mother and brother seek thee. And if I could paraphrase, he says, who are my brother? Who is my mother? He said, these, right? These, we're here. We're doing the will of the Father. So I'm saying that to say, don't believe that everybody out there is your brother and your sister, because they're not. It's these set. And you doing the will of the Father, even so, we're saying that these are the ones who are doing the will of the Father. It's only a selected few. If you think about it, it was only a selected few, even in that space where Christ was. It wasn't no heathens in there. It wasn't no one of no other nationality. And think about it. People don't think about these simple things. The simplicity was, when Christ was in that room, all was in that room was his people. All was in that room. And when they say, thy mother and thy brother seek thee. My mother and brother, they're right in here. They're doing the will of the Father. So them out there. All right. So that's who we say, that's our brother, and that's how it should work. However you think you would like somebody to treat you, you need to treat them that way. And these people need to see, the other thing is, these people need to be learning and understanding what you are. You can't be in a different mindset, a different organization, a different cult, a different culture, and expect me and you to work the same way, because it doesn't work that way. You have to be of the same group, organization, family, system for it to work properly. Because if you learn one thing, I'm learning something else. You're not going to treat me the way I want you to treat me. Or I can't expect you to treat me that way. I can't expect that to be the same, because our teaching is not the same. And so this is why we tell you, we invite you. And the thing is, our leaders invite other leaders for us to come together and have one. Because listen, Christ didn't have, if you think about it, Christ say it's only one body. And then paraphrase is one baptism, one body. All right? And God over all. It ain't all of these different bodies that we go around the earth thinking is right. It's only one body. And if we can't get our bodies together here on earth, when Christ comes, it's who is who. Because we're supposed to be, like the scripture said, as Jeremiah, let's paraphrase again, gather yourself together. This is what we should have been doing now. All of the people should be gathering themselves together, not trying to enrich themselves, not trying to be building bigger buildings. How do we show that we love the brotherhood, how it operates? It operates by we finding people there who less than and help them. In mainstream Christianity, we don't do it to the level which we should. And I've been in it. Now, I'm not going to tell you the churches don't give. They might find an organization or something, some charity, and say they give. But yet their giving is so minimum when it comes to the things that they have. You know, it's almost unnoticeable. Okay, but that's how all men will know, according to how you have love one for another. All right. Go to Mark chapter 12, verse 31, Babakasha.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 12, and verse 31. And the second is like, namely this: Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these.
You know, and of course, when he said that, he was just, that was the second commandment. The first one he said was love the Lord thy God, all thy heart, soul, and mind. Then he said the second is like unto the first, love your neighbor as yourself. And so that's why he references two commandments in that particular phrase right there. So your neighbor, who is thy neighbor? Again, this is what we're talking about. Who is the brother? Who is your neighbor, and how should you treat them? Should you have to treat a Chinese the way? Or let me rephrase it. The Bible doesn't say you have to treat other nations the way you treat the Israelites. Case in point. The Bible clearly says, as a farmer, the Bible clearly says that if I have an animal that dies, let's just say on the farm, and I have an animal that dies on its own, it just died, I could now cut that animal up and sell that to a non-Israelite. That's what the Bible says. It's the Bible. The Bible also says that I cannot sell it to an Israelite or give it to them if the animal dies on its own. That's the scripture. I'm saying that to say there's a difference how we treat the Israelites and others. And what happens is we don't actually understand it from the scriptures because of the indoctrination of the people who taught us. They never talk about that scripture, but this is, and there are many other scriptures would separate the Israelites from other people. The scriptures was written mainly by the descendants of Abraham. All, barring none. You cannot find any scripture that is in this Holy Bible that was written by anybody other than the descendant of Abraham. And I'm saying Abraham, I didn't go to Israel just in case we had something written before Jacob was really in Israel. Right? So all scripture is written by the descendants of Abraham, barring none. And so we find them. And I said it on one of the live before, like who as far as by us. So this thing is for the Israelites, by the Israelites, for the Israelites. And a lot of times that is not appreciated. We are so quick to give our birthright to someone else. And the thing is, we don't ask for anything in return. We just disown our own birthright and say we don't deserve because what the indoctrination we went through in our lives. Okay, so let's move on to another scripture. And feel free to interject anywhere, officer. Okay, so we go to the book of John, chapter 15. We'll be reading the 12th through the 14th verse.
So this is the book of John, chapter 15 and verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Verse 14. You are my friend, Salakia, ye are my friends, and if ye do whatsoever I command you. Verse 15. Henceforth I call you.
That's good right there. 14. Okay, so read 12 again.
Verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
God, this definitely we know this is Christ speaking. This is Christ speaking. So, if we have in mind how Christ showed his love, then Christ paid the ultimate price to show his love. And so this is what he's basically telling us. Now, it wasn't easy for him, and it's not going to be easy for us. But yet, this is what we called to do. We called to do just that. Read on.
Verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
So you hear that sacrifice that Christ made. He made that sacrifice and laid down his life for his friend. And so this, you see, these are the things we have to continue to tell ourselves, continue to brainwash yourself, because we, believe it or not, we've been programmed before we came into the truth. Whether it was overt programming, whether it was programming that you didn't understand with subliminal programming, but you was programmed. So we have to actively tell ourselves, we have to speak to ourselves, we have to talk to ourselves, we have to convince ourselves to do the things what the scriptures teaching us and what the man above us is teaching us. And it's not an easy thing, because we struggle, because we're gonna automatically revert to something that's in our mind if we don't clear our minds and retrain our minds and wash our minds and fight those demons every day when they try to come back up. You'd have to always be ahead of it, because if you don't, you could find you slipping back into some of your old thoughts, some of your old habits. And so this is why we have to constantly, hopefully we don't wait until we get into a situation, but we could kind of talk ourselves and say, okay, if this happens, this is what I can do. I come from an area where we run scenarios. So you could run a scenario. Okay, if this happens, this is what I can do. This happens, if this is said, this is what I can say about. This is how I'm going to behave. This is how I'm going to operate. I'm going to take the 3 seconds and 5 seconds. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to think. I'm going to respond. And this is how we try to get ourselves in order. This is how we try to do the best, especially when it comes to the brotherhood. Not to respond, because in our response to each other, we could be very wrong because you didn't understand something clearly. And so it's a lot of times it could just be misunderstanding. So when something happens, you must have in your mind, listen, this is the brother. This is my brother. So before I think the worst, I can think the best. And you would say, well, I'm a bro, something I hear you sound like you say this. And then when he tell you exactly what he say, then you'll realize it was that demon trying to give you the wrong understanding for you to create a problem, Or even if you hear the say, they say, no, that ain't how I mean it. This is how I mean it. And if a man tell you this is how he meant it, simple, that is how he meant it, Because some people still have, no, you mean it? No, I telling you how I mean it. This is what I say. Now, I said to somebody here recently, I said, well, I may not have selected the right words, but this is what I meant, And that's, so if a man say, this is what I meant, we have to accept that. And so this is how we try to make this brotherhood come alive, stay strong, realizing that the brotherhood is supposed to be the most important thing between the brothers. Strengthen, always be here to strengthen the brothers and help the brothers and be one with them. That's it. Do you have more on that one?
There is 14 is left.
Go ahead, sir.
Ye are my friends,
Can.
if ye do whatsoever I command you.
Can. Okay, so, and this is Christ speaking again. And he's telling you, gird up yourself. Get ready. With the paraphrase, when you come to save the Lord, prepare your heart for temptation. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Get ready. It's coming. So prepare your heart for that. Be ready for that. So eventually when it comes, you are in a position, or you've been practicing. If you're gonna if you're gonna go on a long walk or a long run, you would practice before it happens. If you have to go on let's say you would go on a marathon, you would go and practice. You would go and jog. You would go and run. You would go and get your body better in shape. And so, as we know that temptation is gonna come, we must try our best to get our minds, our hearts in tune with the word. We have to be able to resist any evil temptation, because those things, they do not last long, believe it or not. They feel like they're lasting long, but they really don't last that long. If you could just get over it, just don't respond the wrong way. Just don't do the wrong thing. Just let it pass. Sometimes some things there's not even wait a response. You just let it pass and it disappears. Okay, let's read on. Let's go to First John chapter 4 verse 20 and 21.
So this is the book of First John chapter 4 and verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen?
Come on. So, and see, this is actually like a commandment for you to search out your brothers and love them. Yeah, this is actually telling you that, because if you say you love God and you hate your brother, that's a problem. That's a problem. And this also says that, this also give you, we're going to go into the next part soon, but this is telling you, even if there's an issue between you and your brother, it needs to be resolved, because you must at all times only have love in your heart for your brother. And it's so easy for that to be misunderstood, mixed up, confused, because of lack of or poor communication, what I just spoke about. That you could, if you don't be careful, you could build up or develop something in your heart, which really is just a misunderstanding, and it normally is resolved just by just by confronting whatever the issue might be. And so, I think you have another verse for that, right? Read on.
Verse 21. And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also.
Yeah. So it started by saying, if you say you love God, and you hate your brother, you got to be a liar. And now this is saying, you have this commandment from God to love your brother. Now, again, the truth is not for soft people who trying to love everybody who come in their midst. Love your brother, love your sister. Now, if because the Bible does not say, and a lot of people, like I said before, the Bible does not say that everybody on the earth is your brother and your sister. No way. Now, I know we teach it. I taught it before, because nobody ever taught me any different. I didn't even understand that it was so much different nationalities on the earth, especially during the time of Christ. I never realized that. I thought it was only one big happy family. We all branch off from there. But apparently not. Apparently, even when those days was around, those other nations and nationalities were there also, which was never a part of anything. In so much that those people had their own gods, and still do. So they were worshiping their own gods. They were not worshiping the God that we worship. And a lot of them still worshiping the God that they worshiped then. And so we seem to be mixed. Our worshiping of God seems to be mixed now with the worshiping of gods that they worship in those days, and the God they trying to worship now. And this is what happens, that we have this mixture, and nobody seems to be understanding that that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's not a mixture. You can't worship every God You can't just put every God together, which they did in when they did the consuls. They say, okay, we're gonna just add. Okay, so we have from the scriptures, we have a day what we say was a day what we celebrated the birth of a deity when he born. So we'll say that's Jesus' birthday now, right? So we mix those things and believe that God is honored with the mixing and the confusion of these things. But God is not honored. God does not want his birthday to be with a birthday of a tyrant who was actually a false God. He don't want his birthday to be on that day, which the day was not even his birthday. But now they're saying it's his birthday, and the birthday actually belonged to what you could call a demon, right? So you are saying Christ's birthday is on the day which is clearly a demon's birthday, but nobody want to take the time just to Google it. Whose birthday was on this day? And we know it wasn't Christ's birthday. So this is how most of the things have been mixed together to cause the confusion. And so how do you live in this world, loving your brother, trying to grow with your brother, and knowing these things are possible and possibilities? As your brothers come in, your sisters come in, they have to be made aware of these things. If you're going to serve God, you have to serve God the way he has put it to his people to serve him. You cannot serve God the way the pagan gods are being served. You can't sacrifice your babies as they did in the scriptures and say you're serving God, because God don't accept sacrifices like that. And even though you may not understand that some of the sacrifices that you do is as abominable as sacrificing babies, you don't understand it, but it is. Some of the things are. Some of them is. They have this I think it's the book of, I know it's in the Apocrypha. Office, I don't know if you know where it is. If you know, you could tell me. You could look for it. The lady who had the sons that they all died, and it was all they was telling them to eat pork, and I think they all refused to eat it and all died. And when they came, I think they came to almost like the last one, and they brought the mother and they say, convince your son. All you have to do is eat this pork and live. That's all. And this in the Bible. This in the scriptures. I'm paraphrasing it, of course. And she tell him, listen, don't eat that. Just die like all the other brothers. He did, and she did. So people don't realize how these simple things that they think God is not being affected by, because God has given us laws and rules to follow. When you don't follow them, you're not part of the brotherhood. If you, even in those days, you wasn't, for the man, if he wasn't circumcised on the 8th day, you wasn't following all of the laws, you were not counted. You were not counted worthy to be in the midst of those of the elect. You were like a Gentile. You were cast out. That's what they would call you. So it's the same thing, but people don't understand it. They would do all sorts of abominable things, not recognizing it, because over time it seemed to have become normal. And so as the brotherhood is trying to strengthen, the brothers say, no, you can't do this. This is what you got to look at. And if the brothers love you, they just telling you the right thing, telling you things that you should not do.
And that scripture you're talking about is actually Second Maccabees. I think verse 1 and 2 gives a pretty good understanding of what they did and
Yeah.
why they did it.
Hey, to water, officer, to water for that. Yeah, but it's in the. My point is, it's we paraphrasing, but it's in the scriptures. And the thing is, I understand that, and we always accuse the church of not really reading the Bible. They don't know the Bible. Yeah, but anyway, that was the last one with that, or you still have 21 to read, right? Or you did that?
I read 21.
Come on. Okay, let's go to let's go to Matthew 25 and 40. Let's go to Matthew 25 and 40.
So this is the book of Matthew, chapter 25, and verse 40. And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, ye have done it unto me.
Okay. So, you know, we have people who are the least. We have people who are the. I know. I listened to General Mahyman. He was talking about like the beggars what may be on the street. You see this beggar on the street every day begging a dollar, begging a dollar, and you have a problem with the beggar because he's trying to beg a dollar. You have a serious problem. He's now. I don't know what the situation is, but the thing is, you really could spare a dollar, right? That's the first thing. And with his point was, listen, if you hate the beggar so much and hate what he's doing, then you stop and you go do that. You know, if you feel like the beggar getting the weight, then you stop and you go be a beggar, or just give the fella a dollar if you can afford it. You know, so that's the least. That's what I'm getting at. He could very well be the least that you come in contact with, and so if you come in contact with the least in society, and you don't give him a hand up or anything, that you may have the answer that question in the future. You know, you may have to answer that question in the future. Why didn't you do it to the least? Because definitely you find a lot of the least around that you could do for. All right. Now, again, you know, you sort out your brothers, you see them first. You sort out your brothers and your sisters, you see them first. And you need to reach out to them. And listen, selfishness and jealousy is a serious thing. Um, can't be jealous of a fella on the street corner trying to collect a dollar when he pushing the trolley with everything he own in the trolley. You know, you shouldn't be jealous of that. So like, yeah. All right, so do it for the least. All right, go to Matthew chapter 5 and verse 22, Baba Kasha.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 22. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, Thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
Cancer. So this causes you to think again. Think twice about misunderstanding. Think twice about not resolving issues. And before I finish that, we go to Matthew 18 and 21 and wrap the two of them up together.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, and verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till seven times?
Yeah. So the whole idea is this scripture is supposed to promote resolution of any issue. How often should you forgive? You should forgive your brother as many times as your brother sincerely come for forgiveness in one day. Now, not to be, let's say for example, if you just give your brother $10 the day before, and your brother say, listen, I can pay you this $10 back this very day, right? So the brother come the next day, I don't have this $10 to pay you back, but I need another $10. Maybe you want to see if, you know, what's going on, if you really want to give him the next $10, right? You want to see, but if your brother really have a legitimate reason or excuse or reason why he need another $10, yeah, you should consider giving it to him. You shouldn't just say off the top, and I just give you $10 today, I'm not going to give you $10 today. He may have a legitimate reason why he need another $10. Hear him out. Don't hold it against him right from the jump. Forgive him. And even you forgiving him, that don't mean you have to give him the $10. You could forgive him. You may not have it, but you could forgive him for the $10. One of the things I do is small money. I try not to lend it out. I try not to lend out small money. The brother say, I need to borrow $10. If I have the $10, I say, here, take the $10. All right. Because you know how I say, I tell it to people from time to time, I say, bro, I'd rather just give you this $10 than to have you trying to duck me around the corner when you see me coming because you owe me $10. Just take the $10, man, and call it that. And so a lot of times that eliminates the need for, because the reason why the person asks you for $10 is because they don't have it. And maybe sometime if you could afford the $10 or whatever it is, just give it to them. I'm not trying to give them a large sum of money, but somebody might just need to buy something to eat on a particular day, And if you don't want to heap things on the top of them, so when they see you the next time, man, I need to find this $10. No, you could afford the $10, just let them have it. That's brotherly love. That's brotherhood, and that's what I'm saying. That's how we're supposed to be acting with one another. Because if the time come around and I need $10, I'm sure the brother have $10, he'll give it to me. And maybe, and this is why we stress coming in and learning the same things, coming learning and being the same way, understanding the same way things are. And so if you understand and learn the same way, you come to the conclusion that you will operate the same way. And if you don't, there's always counsel, right? There's always counsel. Go, Danny. How you doing, sir? Go, Danny. Salakia.
Council will definitely help
Yeah.
help fix that situation for sure.
Yeah, can. I was just distracted. I think I tell you we was in the election season. I think that was one of the campaigners was outside my window, so I sent him around. So we're going to talk to him. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. If you are here, if you in ISUPK, the truth is, whenever things start to go left, you could always bring it back to the center. Because if you're not able to do it on your own, if you go to he and D alone and that doesn't work, you take another brother, or you take another two people with you and that does not work, you always have counsel to bring it back in line. And this is why it's so important for us to get in here, because getting in here, this is the place to be. Because when you subject yourself to the same governing body, you learn the same things, you will always stay straight. And if something is going wrong, you already subject yourself to counsel. I've already subject myself. If me and you have an issue, we just have counsel to resolve it. And that's how that's done. So with that, any Salakia. Hold on. Yeah, he Salakia. Salakia for that. Okay, so with that, anything you want to add in, officer, before we close out for the night? Okay, well, to all the newly raised officer 50, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. We can just
Okay,
try
great.
and keep our shoulders to the wheel. We can push this truth. So let's go ahead and do the security announcement.
All right, this is the ISUBK security announcements. We are the ISUBK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There are another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21 and Malachi 3:8-10 means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashura. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest fund, free will offering for priests. Not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. upcoming holy convocations, we have Pentecost that will be coming up here soon. Salakia, let me get the exact date. Pentecost will be coming up on the 31st of May. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, men of Israel, I Majum. So we will now render a salute to the teacher, men of Israel, I Majum Shabbat, I Majum, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Yazapatah, Sar, meaning turn, so that we can face the sisters. We will now render a salute to the sisters, men of Israel, I Majum Shabbat, I Majum, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alathan Ba Shem Yahweh Shai. Yazapatah. And with that, class is dismissed. Shalom.
Tuala, officer. See you next time.
Christ.
Shalom, Lord in Christ.
Shalom, Christ.